Matt, Twila, I don't know if you had any thoughts about that as well.
Okay, can you repeat the question again?
It was kind of talking about, you know, this idea of one of the quotes from the film was being born with you know, kind of burden of being indigenous, and it was really in the Sammy talking about that idea of, because of colonization and all the kind of pressure now that's on people that still know things to pass that down and to be able to share that knowledge and that work. And so kind of just asking about that, like for yourself, you know, kind of being someone who grew up with an older generation, especially, I think all of us on the call are a little younger. What does that look like for you from kind of coming from that time you described at the beginning to where we're at now, and how you want to pass that on?
For myself, I'm going to share my little story. I started with this project, Western Apache Diet Project, not knowing I'd be a part of it. And during my recovery, and I lived about 24 miles from where this project was based. I would see my relatives with this botanist. He's an anthrobotanist for a tribe, amazing person. I love him. And I want to learn more about, you know, myself, my culture, identity, and all these things. I went to their office and asked if I could volunteer. And they looked at me like, no. It took me several visits going back. And once I did that, they let me volunteer, and I would go with them to do all these field works. I used to sell tamales and burritos every day, and breakfast burritos in the morning, just to get to this place so I could learn. I did that for nearly 2 years. And that's where it became a challenge, is when we started teaching young people. A lot of people didn't have that passion to learn. To a lot of young people, it's a given. Like, oh, it's there. But when I went through that personally, and trying to find an assistant to assist me in the project we're working on, we had an individual, and unfortunately she had passed on tragically, and that really shattered me a lot, because she was in the same position as me, as wanting to learn, and that's very hard to find. And when you have people wanting to learn, you really want to feed them that knowledge. So when that happened, I had to change my mind about how we want to teach, how I want to teach people. Now it's just going out to all the programs, to the schools, detention center, rehabilitation center, work with anybody possible, and knowing that in there someone is going to want to learn. And I'm really spread thin. I believe we're meeting a community of 60,000, and I go out pre-COVID 3 times a week all year, visiting various communities. And with this pandemic happened, all these elders were leaving us, that were teaching me. And it really hurt, because I wanted them to be here to teach with me. So one of the elders, before he passed, he goes, now it's your turn to teach and to share that knowledge. And people will come to you and ask you all these questions like I'm asking this elder. And I found that to be true. And I never imagined in my life that not knowing, but the work that we are doing globally, like throughout all indigenous communities, the work that all indigenous people are doing, like Sammy, Elsie, and there's so many people out there, that you guys are going to be the elders that the community are going to look up to and fall back to. And the work that you're embracing is so important to each of your communities, because there is no one with that much passion and wanting to learn and wanting to teach. Those people are few. That's the truth. There are few people. We're all seed carriers, but how many of those seeds are going to grow within those communities? And myself, I feel that I'm grabbing a lot of seeds and I'm planting all over, and you're seeing this though. But the beautiful thing is you're seeing these seeds grow in these young people. You see singers, you see people want to learn foraging, you want people hunting, you want people engaging in the songs and the ceremony more than I've seen before. And you're seeing that they're starting to reconnect in this beautiful way, and a lot of it just reconnecting through food. But myself, it's like it hurt me this year, especially like last night. I lost my uncle, and he had so much knowledge. I thought I would have more time with my relatives, but whatever time you have to learn, share that with people. Whatever knowledge they're willing to share with you, know know that it's so priceless, because I never imagined this would happen. I never imagined a moment that I wouldn't have my elders. And it's a reality, but we're very resilient people. We're beautiful people, we're strong people, and we're able to continue and move forward. And that's about, you know, sharing is the most beautiful thing we can do right now. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Sorry to hear about your relative and other elders in the community. I know that really has been across the country, across communities, and we've been having that here too. A lot of fluent Lakota speakers passing on and
Yeah,
moving on, and
our
it's something
language
that,
speakers.
yep, definitely it's heavy. It kind of makes me think too what you were saying about kind of being resilient, being that kind of people. Somebody mentioned this in the film, and I don't remember who, but it really struck me that this idea of indigenous people have already lived through the apocalypse. That's already happened. That was a quote from the film, and you hear a lot of people that look like look like me freaking out about the climate change piece and the catastrophe, and we should. It's scary. It's a real thing that is damaging communities. But thinking about that quote in the film just really kind of puts that back in perspective to say indigenous communities have already watched the whole world change around them. Everything that you know, everything that you love. Looking at Elsie and the buffalo relationship, and where Matt and I live out here on Rosebud, being millions and millions of buffalo. That was everyone's reality, and within a short amount of time, it just isn't in it anymore. So, with this pandemic and things, you started talking already about the gardens that you have grown. I mean, 40 to hundreds. That's amazing.
Yes.
What do you all see coming through this pandemic, coming through, I won't say apocalypse, but coming through this really big traumatic kind of experience? What are your hopes for your community? What do you hope to see? What do you hope that can be better or make life better for your community and your relatives?
There's actually a reconnection going on right now, and you're seeing people engage with each other. You see more people not concerned, but wanting to know more about their traditional food, and also incorporate the language, the song, the ceremony, the prayer, and everything that encompasses us as to who we are. But I like for it to say, if you ever look at ants, little ants, they don't worry. They take care of their family. And right now, we're doing the same. And the rest of the world is worrying. And when you learn a lot when you're out with nature, when you're looking at the plant and you're seeing their plant's behavior and you're seeing the length of their leaves, how they grow, They already telling you we're gonna have a hard time in life and to prepare ourselves. They're already telling us this. If you know nature and you know your plants and you know your environment, they've been talking to us for years and no one listens. They've been saying, look, this is going to happen. And you look at the roots on some of these plants and they already tell you the water shortage is real. They already tell you this climate change is coming, but no one listens. And we're listening now. People are listening to them in a sense, and that's the beautiful thing. Even though it's tragic, but people are starting to look at indigenous knowledge for solution, global solution, not just in our communities, but globally. They're looking at indigenous people that they've kept in the back burners of any discussion and now are actually acknowledging, oh, I think we really should go and have a conversation with them because we think they know something, which we have known for time immemorial. So thank you for that question.
Yeah, when we talk about what we want to see for our community future, I got my brother John Luke here with me. He's also in the film. He's been making some pretty awesome Julian regalia, and we got one coming just for you too, Twila. But here's my brother John Luke.
Hey, how's it going?
Nice.
So the question was, basically, after the pandemic and stuff, I feel like I want to see us just completely not slow down. I don't want us to lose the momentum that we all kind of gained while like going through the COVID, because I feel like through the hard times, that's what gives us the most inspiration. And I feel like we were all struggling before the COVID, so now we just have the momentum and the inspiration to make it done, because now it's like a harsh reality that we are making the difference and our actions and thoughts matter on a daily basis. So
yeah, and really that's what it comes down to. And like my brother John Luke, he's been a captain on our river for many years. He was a boat captain at age like 14. He was like 14 years old, and he was the youngest commercial fisherman captain on the Lower Klamath River, and I worked for him that year. Yeah, so investing, when I see it, where we're going and what I want to see after this pandemic, it's we have to invest in our native youth, because that's what somebody did for me. I was 14 years old when I started. People, they talked to me like I was an adult, because it wasn't because they wanted to teach me. It's because they needed somebody to organize in our community to get people rallied up for dam removal, and there was nobody there. So once you see, a place where there's nobody there, we have to fill those places in our community. We have to be able to challenge this narrative that cultural practitioners don't need to get paid. We need to acknowledge that these skills and everything are so important to the future of our survival and our tribe. We invest so much, not just our tribe, not just your guys' tribe, but, in so much into other things. We need to be putting thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and resources into our traditional practices and our people and our traditional medicines to make sure that, we're still being able to access these things. And that's what I believe. After this, there's going to be so many people that see what we truly need to invest and what we truly need to materialize. Because some people say materialism is, the reason why capitalism is, so crazy. But in reality, our people have been materializing since the beginning of time. It's what we materialize. It's what we hold valuable. And during this pandemic, it really showed everybody what we've known for years, is that we see the value in our people. But not everybody sees that once you're so distracted by everything the world has to offer. But when something like this happened, it made a lot more people focus and dial in, because even for us, when we started throwing this garden in the ground, we live in a food desert, no groceries, 60 miles one way, 40 miles the other way. And when we started doing these gardenings, everybody told us because we're fishermen, we couldn't do it. And we didn't know what we were doing. This year we kicked out, 10, 100, over 120, like around 120-foot rows of vegetables, different kind of vegetables, and provided for people along with traditional meat, salmon and deer meat and everything that we're harvesting, and we're making sure that our communities are getting these things. And like, that's what John Luke's talking about when we're talking about moving forward and pushing hard, because, right now we're providing 40 garden boxes for people, and we're going to double that box in January, triple it in the spring. So I can talk. I'm sorry, I got into it.
Oh, heck yeah. You guys are awesome. I can see Matt smiling. I know after this we'll be texting, getting all fired up, being like, those guys over there are doing awesome. We need to kick it out. But how about for you, Matt? I mean, what do you hope to see for Rosebud and kind of coming through this pandemic?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me here, I think I really want to see more people doing, more home gardening. I think that's kind of what we've seen this past summer, is more people doing that kind of work, and more people interested in doing traditional food harvests, growing gardens, cooking. I think a lot of people think about food sovereignty and they think about just growing, probably. And, you can do anything really with food. So I would just love to see more people, cooking. This past summer at our farmers market, we saw like a big amount of vendors who were doing hot foods, and I thought that was really cool. We don't really have any restaurants here either, and I think, so that's kind of where my passion has been at, is with cooking. So I would love to see more, more restaurants, more, pop-up markets with food. And as for youth, I would love to see more youth getting involved too. I think for me, I'm kind of just starting my journey with food sovereignty, and I never really grew up knowing all these different things in terms of like, I never been to a buffalo harvest before, and until just in the past couple of years, I didn't grow up eating traditional food either. So I think that for me, it's kind of been my push for some of the work that we're doing. I wouldn't want other youth growing up not knowing how to do those things, and so that's kind of been my push.
I love it. All right, we're getting towards the end of our time here, so I just wanted to give a quick plug. We have anybody who hasn't watched the film who is checking this out. You got one more day of free access. Really appreciate Twila, Sammy, to Sanjay, everybody for being so generous with the knowledge, with the film, with the time, and sharing that with us. So if people are interested in checking out the film, SicanguCDC.com or the Facebook Sicangu CDC. We have the link up there. There's an access code. It's available till tomorrow, so get on and check it out. Friday night movie night. It's awesome. Well worth the watch. This has been so special to just get to talk to you guys. For me too, I grew up in the city, so finding my way back to food and land, and it's been definitely a journey. It's something that's powerful. There's definitely something there. So I kind of wanted to just open it up here, as the last couple of minutes. We have a lot of friends who are watching right now, so shout out to Kirian, some former interns, to Lisa. Twila, you remind us of our friend Lisa a lot, so you guys would really get along. She's been somebody who's really taken on foraging and buffalo harvesting, and just has gained a ton of amazing knowledge. Helped lead us through a buffalo harvest about a month ago or so. But I wanted to kind of open it up, just in these last 10 or so minutes. What's a parting thoughts? What are you all wanting to kind of leave anybody who's been watching with? What are you thinking about? What's some final things you might want to share here?
Let Sammy go.
Yeah. Invest in yourself. Invest in Indigenous youth, because that's what I've did my whole life, is invest in Indigenous youth, invest in our local communities, and it's always, done good for me. And one thing I want to say, if you guys want to start doing gardenings, we actually just did a collaboration with UC Davis where by the end of this year, we'll have a certified study that says what our programming does is actually beneficial to rural communities throughout, in Northern California, and we'll be able to pass this curriculum, and we want to open source it and make it, open for communities. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and we want to learn from you too. And these are the type of relationships that we need to build. So invest in your people, and make sure that your leaders do the same and hold them accountable, no matter who they are. And also invest in like local artists. Like, check this out. My brother John Luke at Fishbone Trade Company, they make all that lamp so from indigenous artists. And that's what you have to do. Invest in indigenous people.
Awesome. Did you say
Yeah,
Fishbone
absolutely.
Trading Company? Is there a website? Yeah. Should we be pointing people over there, get your Christmas presents, or what?
On Instagram. If you go to if you have an Instagram, go to Fishbone Trade Company, and you'll see the bracelets that they're making, and it's all from local indigenous youth.
Eating outside. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Sammy. Cool. All right, you heard that. Instagram, Fishbone Trading Company. Get on there. Get your Christmas present. Support indigenous. Buy indigenous. Cool. All right. Twila, are you still with us? Was there a last thought you wanted to be able to kind of share with people? On the move. Hey, busy people got busy people got stuff to do.
Right, you guys. Have a good day.
Hey, see you. Thanks, Sammy.
Thanks, Sammy.
Yeah.
Cool. So Matt, kind of maybe we can wrap up for a second here and just kind of be
okay, hold on. Okay, I have to get back in the vehicle. Okay. I'm gonna do it this way. Go ahead. Okay, what was the question again?
Just last any last thoughts that you wanted to share out with people watching here on Rosebud? Any last thoughts you had?
Oh, yes. Never be discouraged. Everything takes time. Learning our traditional ways and learning about ourselves, it always takes time. It's just like planting. When you plant a seed, it's not going to pop up the next day. And that knowledge takes time. But to always have patience and know that that knowledge is there with you. And I know it will find a way for you to reconnect. And also that to really empower and, really support local native producers that are in your communities, and also to support especially the native youth programs that are in local communities that are working to reconnect those traditional values and traditional way of life within the community. A lot of programs are underfunded that really work with young natives, and just mostly supporting each other, reaching out and knowing that we are very resilient. Oh my gosh, we're just, look at us. Look where we are today. And we're doing amazing things. We got people in Congress. We got people going out, they're being appointed by Biden, and we're moving forward. And that's really absolutely telling us how much forward we're moving. You're looking at Sean Sherman doing amazing work out there. That's a step forward for Indigenous people. And that step's going to continue forward with the positive people that we have in our Indigenous communities. So with that, I'd like to say thank you to everybody. I know I kind of run short here. I have a little errand going on in the background.
Not a problem. Thank you so much, Twila.
Okay.
Thank you, Twila.
Yeah, thank you.
Stay well, stay healthy. See you soon. So Matt, any parting words, any wrap up pieces you want to share?
Yeah, I would say kokipeshni. Don't be scared to start. Harvesting, hunting, growing, cooking. I think also to be kind to yourself, like kind of what Twila was saying, and to be patient with yourself. And I know for me, when I first started cooking, and even now when I try out a new recipe, I'm my harshest critic. So if something doesn't taste, if it's a little bit off and it doesn't taste as good as I think it's going to be, then, I'm really hard on myself as to like what I should be doing different next time. So I know I should be better to myself. So I hope you all are more kind to yourself as well.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. Thank you for the wrap up. Thank you everybody who watched. This is
one moment. I got one more thing.
Sure,
I don't think you can see me, but here we go. Go ahead. And that's just a prayer, so keep going. And thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you. All right, for everyone, 2020. That's a wrap for 7 Gen Live. Really appreciate everyone who's been watching the show this whole time. This is our last show for 2020. We'll be back in 2021 with a whole host of awesome stuff. We already have some cool roundtables planned on Indigenous education. You'll be hearing more stuff on food sovereignty and food. Really appreciate just everybody who's tuned in and who's kept up. Really appreciate Matt for stepping in last minute as a great co-host here. Yeah, for everybody, if you Christmas, if you don't Christmas, enjoy your holiday, enjoy your break, spend time with family, be well, be safe, be healthy, and see y'all on the other side of Western Culture New Year. Be well, and thank you again. See y'all. Doksha.
Doksha.